You're listening to Sips of Sanity, your toolkit for emotional and intuitive intelligence, or what we like to call the dirty work. Let's do it.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
I am so excited. Although I think I say that every single month now.
Yep.
I am so enjoying preparing Sips of Sanity for anybody that's watching this that I feel sometimes it's not so much for them anymore.
That it's just for you.
than it is for me.
Beautiful.
And this one in particular, because it is like it's word porn.
Oh,
Like it's vocabulary.
excellent.
What we did, or what I did at your suggestion, was I went back to our very first Sips of Sanity for this year, for 2023, and I scanned all of my notes because I'm organized, because like I have all of that now in organizational skills. And I went through words, terms, little phrases, and I pulled them all out to go over so that people would have an idea listening today what we've done in the past, and it might spark some interest and say, geez, it's good to know, it's good to have a new vocabulary, to be able to understand words and terms. It helps me identify what I'm doing or what I'm going through so that I have a word to put to something. Mm-hmm. So I went back to the beginning of January if people are interested. And that way they can go to our other Sips of Sanity series on YouTube, because there's always the first one free every month, or patreon.com/the Sarlos to find the entire series for every single month. So we're going to do words. We're going to do vocabulary for this month. And we're going to start with the word, or the phrase, emotional resistance. So, and I thought this was a great start, because somebody might be listening to this and going, oh, I don't know if I want to hear about vocabulary and words. I don't know if I want to grow. I don't know if I want more things on my plate, because that's exactly what emotional resistance is. So sit your ass down and keep listening to this. Emotional resistance is avoidance. It is the avoidance that we participate in when we don't want to do something that's actually going to better ourselves, that's going to grow ourselves. We prefer to stay in self-sabotage. We prefer to stay in existing patterns, even when we don't like how they feel or what they produce, or any of the outcomes. But we stay in them anyway because it's familiar. So it might mean that instead of getting a new tool like active listening skills, we avoid doing it. And instead, I don't want to do the work, and I don't want to feel the different feelings that I'm going to feel to get healthy. I'd much rather stay and have this argument with me. I'd rather stay and have this argument with you and behave the way I normally do, because it's familiar to me to have this fight with you.
Well, I think your Freudian slip there was perfect, because emotional resistance really is a fight with me, myself, because it is, as you mentioned, the avoidance, and I'm going to say of connection, right? And I know that we're saying emotional resistance is avoiding growing, avoid learning, right? But really what it's doing is creating disconnection, whether that is to yourself or to others. And I think emotional resistance is a state, but it's also an action.
Yes. Oh, perfect. I like that. So, and what it does is it creates a new, like this consistent pattern of I'm going to avoid what's best for me in favor of what's not best for me, because it's familiar, because I know what to do with those feelings, even if I don't like those feelings. So those feelings could be anger, sadness, frustration, irritation, loneliness, fear of abandonment. It can go into all kinds of those things, but I know what those things feel like. I know that fear of abandonment. Oh, I know that. I'm comfortable with it. I don't like it though. So why don't I like it? Well, that's your emotional resistance, that whole tripped up little game.
Notice that she did not once say that it's less work. And I think this is really cool. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but emotional resistance isn't something that we choose because it's less work than growing and learning. And I think some people will want to fight that or argue that and say, well, if it's a pattern, it's your default mode, then it certainly is less work than change. And it's like, okay, maybe on some surface level, it's less work in terms of the neural pathways that are being used. Or maybe it's less work in terms of the physical output that you have to, or would endure if you were changing a pattern. But I would argue on your internal organs and the energetic flow of your body, to put it kindly, it is tremendous amounts of work to stay in emotional resistance because you are taxing the system with stress. You're taxing the system with denial, right? And so your body is trying to constantly process this state of resistance in order to actually come to a place of health.
Right.
Right? The body wants to be healthy. It's constantly working to be healthy. So when you stay in a state or in an environment that is creating toxicity, creating a lack of health, your internal organs, your internal systems are working in overdrive, right? Your central nervous system is working in overdrive.
Your autonomic system's working overdrive. Your adrenal glands are. Your adrenal glands connect to other organs that are going to shoot off and spike cortisol. You may gain weight. You may
lose sleep. You may lose memory.
Yeah.
It is a fuck ton of work.
Yes.
To be in emotional resistance.
Yes. And there's also the work that comes when the person says you're fired for that. Or I'm leaving you. And now there's the work of a divorce, or the work of finding a new job, or the work of finding a new friend. Like there is work. We're just saying, I don't want to deal with it right now. I just don't want to deal with it now. I'll deal with that later. And if the person ever actually gets enough nerve to actually leave me. I think it's really important for us to be able to identify the term emotional resistance to know what the hell we're doing. Because if we don't know what we're doing, we could be in that resistance and just keep perpetuating the pattern. I'm hoping when people hear things like the term emotional resistance, that they can sit there and when they're doing it the next time and go, oh, I heard this term and I know what I'm doing now. It's emotional resistance. I remember this conversation with these two women. It's going to catch up and bite me in the ass. It's better to get in and do the work than it is to constantly resist this so that people can move forward now. Okay, so that's our first term. Let's move on to our next one. And the next one is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is one of my favorite words. It came from the book by Nathaniel Branden called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. And self-efficacy is described as the belief that I can. So it is simply that belief, I can do something. I can achieve it, or I can try. It's not that you have to succeed. It's just absolutely the belief that I can do something.
Right. So not I can do it perfect, but I can learn. I can try and get better. I can attempt and be okay if I fail. Right? It's just this belief in yourself that allows you to put one foot in front of the other and trust your skill, trust your knowledge, trust your abilities to keep going.
Yeah, and it can just be that you only have a drop of trust.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you have to be 100% certain that you can do something.
No, it's not defined as certainty. It's the belief that I can develop, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but one foot in front of the other, essentially.
Yeah, that's a lovely way of wording that. And the last one for this particular show is fearmonger. And you can say fearmongering. It can be a verb. It can be a person, a fearmongerer. The term means that it's someone who invokes fear on purpose. This is very intentional because the fearmonger wants control over the victim, over the other person that they're initiating or instilling fear in. They have some agenda. And I think it's a really good term for people to know so that they can be aware when they're listening to another person's conversation. Oh, this person is talking in such a way that they're trying to create a fear in me.
Or I can hear my own thoughts and I am fear-mongering myself. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me.
That's really true.
Yeah. I mean, they're everywhere out there, but they're also internal.
Oh my goodness. That's a good example. I want to add another one. There's been a lot of fear mongering for a very long time in our media. And
There's still people though, right?
Yes.
Like we're referring to a person or an action, however you want to look at it in terms of your tense. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying that to humanize it. Because if we're just labeling media as the fearmonger, we have to understand that there are humans driving that bus.
For sure. Yeah, that's great. That's a great point.
And you're saying be on the lookout for the source.
That's right. Okay, Cal. So we've done 3 words for today. We have 4 more shows coming, and we're going to do 3 words each day so that people can broaden their vocabulary.
Word porn. Thanks for listening to Sips of Sanity. Catch the full monthly workshop on patreon.com/the Sarlos.